What's going on, man? Thursday, October 27th. Man, Halloween's right around the corner. November's here. Hunting season's underway. It's crazy how fast time flies. The Berkeley event came and went. The Sealy event came and went. Dang, this whole doggone year has come and went. And we're getting ready for Thanksgiving here in November. Before we know it, it's Christmas. And guess what? It'll be 2023, just like that. But let's talk about fishing, as we always do. I'm going to give you guys a little rundown. Lake Fork's, I don't know why, but Lake Fork is funky. I have some speculation, and we're going to talk about that in just a second, and tell you some ways that you can fish it and catch some fish right now. But let's talk about the lake itself. So we finally have hit the 39600. Another inch is gone in 2 days. Why we're dropping a half an inch a day in fall, late fall now, mid-fall anyways, I don't know. I guess maybe we've grown population around the lake. We're really using the water. It's definitely not evaporation. We even came up just a little bit from the rain on Monday, Tuesday. And we have, the rate of fall is unbelievable. And somebody else pointed that out. Somebody had put a post on Facebook that the rate of fall in Lake Fork increased tremendously after the big storm that raised the lake 26 inches. And it increased in a rate way more rapid than it was previous to the 26-inch increase. So right before the Sealy event, we had that huge rainstorm that gave us 10 inches in like 8 hours. The lake came up 26 inches. It has fallen faster since by diagrams and logs on a daily rate than it was falling previous to that, which is strange. Summertime, evaporation, usage, rate of flow, all those things really make us fall fast. July, August, even into September. Why from September, mid-September, in less than 2 months, we've lost 2 feet, almost 2 feet of water? I don't know. I do know this, that the SRA, Sabine River Authority, they are in the business of managing water. It's not here as a fishery. Lake Fork is not as a fishery whatsoever. They truly could care less about that part. When it comes down to the rawness of it, the rawness of what is Sabine River Authority here for, and what are they in business for, it's to manage water. So whatever they're doing there, I assume they're doing the very best. They own Toledo Bend. They own the rights in the water. How it affects fishing, bass like stable things. Any animal likes stability, just like you and I do. I've talked about it time and time again. When the water's falling, the fish are pointed out. That means the fish pull out. They're pulling on the outside edges. Usually they're on the points. That's why we say falling water points them out. Pulls them out, points them out. We just seem to do nothing but fall. Fall, 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 fall. No stable time. The lake never gets stable. Rising water rises fish, brings them up. You rise enough, you can bring them all the way to the banks where they're counting the ants. Those are the things that truly, and the reason I'm sharing this, I'm not humming and hawing and moping and groaning. I'm sharing this for the knowledge of understanding why the fish change so much, why the fish move so much, why the fish are so goofy in the fall. There's several other aspects, but the constant falling of water, falling, no stability, no rise, no hold. I came from West Coast lakes that do that. And man, I'm telling you, they change on a daily basis, sometimes a foot to 2. If the farmers call for water, they'll fill the entire canal system up for Lake Pleasant, from Lake Pleasant, for example, and the lake will drop 12, 18 inches overnight. And you talk about changing fish. You could have the most incredible bite on a Wednesday evening and wake up Thursday morning, the lake's down 16, 18 inches, and that bite's gone, okay? And so the fish are fine. Fish are survivalists. They're not screwed up. That's what we use, the terminology we use. They're screwed up. No, they do what they need to do to survive. So they're changing. I think sometimes they get buggered up and don't eat. They don't necessarily have to eat. I've had fish tanks with fish and they don't eat all the time. They don't eat every single day. In hotter, warmer water, the demand to eat is higher. They do want to eat, so they will pursue to eat. But if they feel like it, just like a snake, they can lay low and dormant. They don't have to eat. I used to say it. I hear clients say it. I hear fishermen say it. They got to eat just like we do. No, they don't. We're a warm-blooded creature. We have to eat. We can't go 3, 5, 10 days without eating. We're in trouble. Fish can go a long time without eating. I'm going to give you 2 scenarios that are facts. I put a bass and put bass years ago in 3 separate fish tanks. Big fish tanks, 100-gallon tanks. And I put one at cold temperature, below 60 degrees. I put one in mid-temperature, room temperature of the room. And I put one with a heater. And I chose not to feed them for 4 weeks at a time to see what would happen. The fish in the cold water hardly changed at all. They didn't really act. They stayed dormitized. They never, when you'd go to the tank, they'd never fire up and come to the glass or anything. When you brought minnows to the tank, baby guppies, they didn't do much. Goldfish, they didn't do much. They would eat if you put them in there. You come to the room temperature, stable temperature, and they went pretty nuts. They wanted to eat. They would come look. The bass wanted to eat. You go to the hot temperature, and they lost weight. They looked fatigued after 4 weeks. Their bodies were goofy, skinny, and man, they were starving. And you could put your finger in there, and they would almost attack your finger. So remember, it's a cold-blooded creature. It doesn't have to eat. We're sitting in great water temperature, 64 to 68. That's when the bass spawn. These bass in Lake Fork should be absolutely fired up and chewy and wanting to eat. Some people always catch fish. Someone out there is catching fish. But overall, on a daily basis, for a consistent 7 days a week, Lake Fork does not fish very good in the fall anymore. And here's the reason that I'm having this long spiel. I'm going somewhere. Fall is a time when the lake turns over. I believe we've already turned over. We still have some yucky stuff. The other day there was some more yellow bubbles. The water turned brown again with the rain and the cold. Not mud brown, but turnover brown. Lake Fork's got some weird things that happen to it in stages through the fall. The number one thing that I believe has affected Lake Fork fishing in the fall was the spraying and complete eradication of the vegetation that was in the water. Now, we're 7 feet low, so it wouldn't matter. I don't think we got much vegetation regardless. But when they eradicated for the giant salvinia in about 2016 or 17, somewhere there, maybe 18, 17, 18, they eradicated. And they wiped out lily pad fields. They wiped out, if it was green in the water, they sprayed it, okay? And those are facts. They oversprayed, the chemical was too strong. They killed turtles, they killed bugs, they killed birds, they killed shad. I have proof, documented proof on GoPro camera of going into Running Creek and Coffee Creek when it looked like an ESPN oasis of green. Beautiful lily pads and water hyacinth and hydrilla patches and coontail patches, and it was gorgeous. The day they sprayed, we were in there fishing. I have that on GoPro. Within the next day, everything began to turn yellow. The water turned colors. Within 3 days, there were dead birds, dead turtles, dead shad. It stunk. Everything was brown. And I'm not whining, crying. They did what they had to do to manage the lake and remove the water hyacinth and the threat of giant salvinia. What I'm doing is I'm talking and discussing with you the effects of that. They did it to Toledo Bend. In 2017, Toledo Bend was the #1 lake in the nation. That fall, they sprayed the vegetation from end to end. In 2018, it was second to last in the nation. The bass didn't die. The bass are still in the lake, but they're affected by it. When fall comes, oxygen issues are low due to low thermocline breaking, turnover. You have oxygen issues. Long, hot summer, you've got these oxygen issues, and it's mandatory that they have the vegetation in the water to have a good, healthy cycle, balanced water cycle, and good oxygen that keeps the fish hungry. This is 3 years in a row that for absolutely no reason, maybe the dropping water, and we know how to adjust for dropping water. We pull out on the outside edges. We pull out on the secondary points. We pull out to the tree lines. We pull out. We know what to do for dropping water. Why these fish won't eat. why this is sitting in a premium, aggressive temperature area. And with live scope and jerk baits, you can't catch them out of the trees. You can't get their interest. You see them in the trees suspended, they won't even follow because they don't feel good. It's like asking you if you're winded, you're totally winded. I want you to run 4 laps around a football field and I'll feed you a hot dog. You don't care about the hot dog. You're not hungry. You're winded. You're not going to run around the laps on the track. So the oxygen level and oxygen content is what's low in the fall due to no vegetation, no filters of the water. The lake has a thermocline midsummer. It breaks early fall. The water gets yucky. The oxygen gets extremely low and goofy, and there's nothing to filter it. That's my true opinion of why Lake Fork fishes like it does in the fall. The Big Bass Splash was a pretty good event. There were 20-something overs caught. They weren't real big. There was an 11-pounder. The Berkeley, however, on the underside, and there's plenty of unders in the lake. On the underside, it was a scrap shoot. Okay, when the Berkeley came, God, the numbers were so bad, and they've been each year. The Berkeley event hits the prime window in October when the lake is turned over. And remember, if you're wondering what a turnover is, go look at my thermocline lesson. It tells you what a turnover is. The turnover happens in 24, 48 hours. The reminisce afterwards. The bad oxygen issues can sit for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks before things get balanced again. So we've had good balance. I've been talking about it. You've been following the rundowns. There's good water color. God, I went up into Garrett Creek the other day. I went all the way up in Elm, Garrett. I went up in McGee Bay, the Shotgun area. And the water was gorgeous, gorgeous. Lake Fork green. There were herons in the water getting bait like crazy. There was bait everywhere, bait fish everywhere. There was no bass with it. Why? I'm not 100% scientist, true biologist, or any of those things, but I've fished all my life, and that's all I know is fishing, pretty much. I fish 6 days a week, and I have 300 plus days a year for the last 20-something years of my life. I've fished all over the place. I've fished in the West Coast. I've fished in Florida. I've fished in Canada. I've fished in down south in Mexico, all the way to Lake Baccarat, El Salto, Huites, Las Mochas. I've been around fishing, and I understand 2 things about vegetation in the water. It's mandatory. It grows fish. It keeps them happy. It filters the water and makes oxygen. Makes oxygen. You can't remove it. That's what I see. So it's the way it is. Go over to Lake Welsh right now. It's got vegetation. God, you can catch 50, 60 fish a day. Go over to Bob Sandlin right now. It's got vegetation. You can catch 100 fish a day. Those lakes are acting normal. Go to Lake Athens, you'll catch fish. Go to any one of these surrounding lakes within 60 miles that has vegetation in the water. Tie on an underspin, tie on a spinner bait, tie on a moving bait, and you'll catch fish. Go to Lake Fork and tie on a moving bait, and you'll make 1,000 casts like you're fishing for pike or muskie, and you might get a bite or 2. So that's the gist. That's the rundown. There are some fish to be caught. Fish the ditches, fish the drains, get to the backs of the creeks. Your trick worms and stuff like that, finesse, drop shots, wacky worms, those things are working the best. 6 to 8 feet of water. I really never ever recommend that you put down a reaction bait this time of year, because as soon as things do get right, we get a couple good wind blows, we get another rain that puts the oxygen gets right, and that can happen in 24, 48 hours. That oxygen gets correct, and those fish will start eating. They will start chasing. We got winter coming. They know it. They do need to put on some winter bags. They do. The big fish should have eggs calling on their body for food. So again, when I said fish don't have to eat, they don't have to eat, but they want to eat, and they're going to eat. They're going to eat until that water is even below 54 degrees, okay? So that's the gist of it. When you're fishing right now, start on some points, main lake points, secondary points, maybe go back to the backs of the creeks, throw your reaction baits. If they aren't eating those reaction baits, get to some soft plastics, get to a jig, and pitch the stumps, pitch the laydowns, fish really slow. That's Lake Fork Report for you. I'm Mike McFarland. I really appreciate you guys watching. Listen, I've got some guide trips coming up here in November, but no room for anything, so I'm not soliciting you for any guide trips. But I do want to remind you that next year, 2023, should be a really good year for big fish. Bass Lady Brooke, my best friend Bass Lady Brooke, had 15 fish over 9 pounds in April and May last year. In 6 to 8 weeks, she had 15 giant fish, and with two additional double digits. Those fish should now be 10-pounders. They're about 8 years old. They were probably born in 2015-ish, somewhere in there. And so 2023 should be a terrific year. I'm already filling dates, so I'm throwing that out there. If you book now, if you'll book before January 1st, the rate is $500 a day for 1 to 2 person. If you wait till after January, my prices are increasing. I'm going up to $600 for a full day. I'm going up to $400 for a half a day. I do not offer half a days in the springtime, but I've got no choice to raise these prices. Fuel prices are outrageous. Boats have gone from 70s to 80s to now $97,000 for a Skeeter FXR. It's unbelievable, the prices. Thanks, Joe Biden. But because of those things, groceries, everything is up. I know you understand. I am increasing to $600 for the full day trip for next year. If you are looking, if you're interested to learn about the big fish in April, May, even June, you want to fish with me, book now, you'll save yourself $100. And I have some dates. March is kind of getting full. April has some openings, May quite a bit of openings. But book before January 1st, 2023. It's $500 for a full day for 1 or 2 person. Other than that, man, hit the like button, comment below. I'm grateful for y'all, grateful for the regular subscription. And again, I'm going to finish you with this. I invite you to come to the members only. Everything I just described to you, I will tell the members about, but I have an answer how to catch the fish right now. And I'm looking at the baits that I'm fixing to share with them. I'm looking at the rig that I'm fixing to share with the members to ensure that when they go fish, if you're a member, you're going to get the right information, the right place to go fish, the right depth to go fish, the right bait, the right color, and the right presentation. And I'm going to get ready here in just a minute to show them just exactly what to do. This is your invite. Come on over to the members only channel. Look in the description of this video. Below in the description, look for the link. Click the link, follow the description, become a member. It's simple. $4.99 a month. That's nothing. You lose those lures on a daily basis. Go to the lake, you burn how much gas at $4 a gallon? $4.99 a month for you to subscribe to get the best information you can about Lake Fork. That's your invite. Thank you again. Mike McFarland, the Lake Fork Fishing Guide.